Over to the US, where a tenacious 11-year-old reporter has become the star of the second round of Democratic debates. It all began when Jaden Jefferson secured an interview with Democratic presidential candidate and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. Since then, the Ohio-based kid journalist has appeared on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News and now Radio New Zealand. Our producer Lydia Batham caught up with Jaden on FaceTime and began by asking how he got into journalism.
Well, I've been doing my reporting for a couple of years now, and really what got me interested in it was the fact that I love to write, I love to shoot video with my camera, and I also love to edit pieces, which I've been pretty good at. I got the hang of it, so it's kind of become easy for me. So now I got a lot better at it, and really I connected the dots, and it became journalism.
And you've been on quite a few, am I right, more local news channels in the past?
Yes, I've been on actually all of our local news channels. We haven't missed one, and we've also been on our local newspaper.
Amazing. And you've built up quite a following online. You've got a fair few thousand followers, haven't you? I mean, did that take a little bit of time to build up?
It didn't take long. After she sent the tweet, it went up 1,000. And then from there, got up to 6,000, 10,000. The next day, we wake up, we're at like 11,000, 15,000, 19,000. And as of today, we hit 20,000.
Now, part of the reason you also have gone so huge or blown up online is that you interviewed, first of all, what Democratic candidate for president? Elizabeth Warren. How did that come about?
That came about because we were actually attending one of her campaign rallies in our hometown. And her press secretary addressed us, and I already had the mindset I was going to get an interview. I got to get the interview. But then her press secretary said Senator Warren would be open to doing an interview with you, but we could only ask a few questions because they had to have her arrested for the debate tomorrow. So we got to interview her. We had to wait a little bit because there's a long line of people who wanted to get selfies, and then the line died down and it was time for the interview.
How did you prepare for it? What did you do?
I already had a pre-list of questions that I wanted to ask, but since I could only ask a few, I really narrowed down the most important issues to the American people.
And so talk me through, what were the questions that you asked her for anyone that's not been able to listen to that interview? And we'll make sure that we share that interview as well.
I asked her about equal opportunities for people of color. And I've also asked her about the American industrial landscape nowadays, because it's not as industrial as we were. So what is her plan to fix that issue?
Did you have any nerves at all going in and asking her anything? Or were you just, I am being direct, I'm going to ask her these things?
I was very direct. I wasn't nervous just because I had the list of things. It's not like I was going to just, forget what I was going to ask because I had the list right there. So really I wasn't nervous because I already had a prepared list of things I wanted to get to.
And after that interview, you then ended up being interviewed yourself by multiple places. Talk me through the places that you've been interviewed by.
I've been interviewed by CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. I'm going to be on Fox and Friends tomorrow morning. And I'm going to soon be getting a lot more interviews, one with CBS tomorrow. So I've been getting a lot of interviews.
So now, are you almost going to be covering more and more of the politics during we've got the full Democratic cycle. They're looking for their candidate and then probably going into the election. Are you hoping you'll be part of the coverage of that?
Yes, I've interviewed Tim Ryan today. He's another presidential candidate and congressman. I interviewed him about what his plans for America, some of the issues that affected the area he represented as congressman. So I really got to go in depth with him, and I'm hoping to get more interviews with more candidates.
Anyone outside of politics maybe that's on your dream bucket list to interview, or anyone that you'd just love to interview?
There's a few people I'd like to interview. Definitely I'd like to interview some journalists. I know George Stephanopoulos at ABC News, and then I want to interview David Muir. There's just a whole lot of journalists that I actually want to interview to see kind of how they got into the business and some of their tips or skills for me going into the business.
As an 11-year-old covering US politics, what can you give us? What's your opinion on the debate so far?
Well, from what I've seen during this debate, there's been a lot of intense exchanges from what I've seen. And the main issues so far have been immigration, healthcare, education. And I know immigration was one that was really resonated with the candidates about children at the border. How are we going to make sure that these children are treated correctly? And there's been a lot of disagreements on that. But I know one thing that I've seen is that they all agree that children don't belong in cages, from what I've seen.
That's Jaden Jefferson, the 11-year-old reporter who's become the star of the second round of Democratic debates. So he went viral online, actually, after he secured an interview with the Democratic presidential candidate and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren.